Yeah, it's all red and whatnot.
The pure red screen. Not recording.
Danger, danger. Fire. It says fire in big block letters.
I mean, it's not recording. They're emitting lethal levels of radiation to inform you this.
Oh no, poison mustard gas.
It's the only way.
Close enough.
It's the only way we know to tell you that it's not recording.
Just to murder you.
Just lethal levels of lethal doses of radiation.
All right, let me see here. Where's the? There we are. There are notes. Here we go. All right.
What else could they possibly do, Marty?
Fake a joke and screams.
I mean, that won't work.
That should be every warning. Just left the emergency brake on. Wow.
I mean, see, that's the thing that should have some sort of that should have more audio warning. Than
Yeah, it needs the joke and scream.
Yeah,
We figured it out. All right. So this one, we're on season 2, episode 8. We're approximately a third of the way through season 2.
Yeah.
And it feels like we've been doing season 2 for like 3 times as long as season 1.
I know, right?
Well, that's a dirty... Well, I mean, it probably feels that way just because they're all close together and not, 3 years apart.
I mean, I'm sure that has a big part of it.
Yeah,
we had a big break in the middle of season 1.
Yeah, but season 2 has been a trek.
Yeah, it doesn't help that it has been a slog.
Yeah. So this one, same title in German.
Which is usually a bad sign.
Yeah, that means even Germany didn't care enough about this David Hasselhoff featuring thing to give it. But it also isn't the worst name. It's Last Breath.
No, it's an appropriate.
Yeah.
It's an appropriate name. It usually just means they couldn't do anything with it. There wasn't anything more interesting to call it.
So cold open on the beach. Appears to be closing time at the beach, which is real weird because the sun point in the sky changes drastically over a very short amount of time.
Yes.
Because the opening, I think, is just a generic shot from Baywatch, where it's like full on fucking 3 in the afternoon. And then the lifeguards are starting to like usher people off the beach, and then immediately like the sun is like 8 inches above sea level.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how long it took them to usher people off the beach.
That's what you can assume.
And so this
They
nameless
have to start at 3 o'clock, so then
Yeah.
when it hits 8 o'clock, then...
and this nameless lifeguard, he's not nameless the entire episode, just about half the episode.
Yeah.
He hears some cries for help, and he doesn't see anything.
Yeah. He's like already closed up his little
Yeah.
station, and he's like the last person on the beach.
Yeah.
And so he starts hearing cries for help from the ocean. We can't see anything.
Yeah. He starts like wandering around some like knee deep water, and he's swimming, and he's sinking.
Yeah.
As you do.
He just sort of like wanders out to see doing the Baywatch thing. Puts on the little can thing that they have, the little floaty bit.
Yeah.
And then like he sort of goes out into the ocean, and then he just gets pulled into the ocean.
Yep. The can goes down and it comes back up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do a funny thing with the camera where it sort of pans down like under him, and then it goes. But then like for just like half, it starts to do it, and then goes like, "Oh no, we can't show you what's going on there."
Oh, we forgot that's the twist. Shit.
So, like a siren call thingy.
And so next shot is a boat. It's like cruising around, saying that they can't find him. They found his can floating.
Yeah, there's some
Offshore, but-
There's some ADR stuff
Yeah.
where they have over radio voices. They're like, we can't find this guy. We've been looking for however long hours.
Yeah.
And lifeguards don't just disappear.
Yeah, Hoff was like, lifeguards don't just disappear like that. Which is a refrain that Hoff reiterates multiple times in this episode.
Yeah. Well, first they say it on the boat, and then Hoff starts saying it.
Well, Hoff is the one who says it on the boat. He's talking to
Is
the
that
boat.
Hoff?
Yes, it's Hoff talking to
okay.
the boat.
I wasn't sure. I thought that was just generic lifeguard.
No, it's Hoff talking to the boat because Hoff is like, the captain of Baywatch or whatever.
Well, I mean, yeah, they don't show him. They just have radio voices.
Yeah, but it sounds just like David Hasselhoff.
I mean,
you think Noomi sounds like Hasselhoff? It's fucking ain't Noomi.
I don't know. Fucking man. I just heard radio voices.
No, that's definitely Hoff. You can tell because he sounds exactly like Hoff. You should know. You're German.
Yeah. And every German knows what Hoff sounds like from the moment of birth.
It is in their blood.
That's just biology.
Find the scent of Hasselhoff.
They know what Hoff sounds like and what a Jew smells like. That's what Germans know. From the moment of birth.
So, then we cut to Hoff staring out at the cold, uncaring ocean at night. And, Angie walks up to him, because Hoff also calls a meeting. He says he's going to get all the lifeguards together for a meeting on the boat, on the radio. So now he's just staring out at the water. Angie walks up to him, asks how it went. And Hoff reiterates, lifeguards don't just disappear like that. They don't just drown for no reason. So something's going on.
I mean, they are lifeguards.
Yeah, they should be not the people who drown.
Yeah, it's kind of their job to do the opposite of that.
Yeah. And Angie's like, well, what else could it be? Hoff's like, I don't know. And then he just starts stripping off his clothes. She's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to go for a swim. She's like, you can't. It's, dangerous, and it's also night. He's like, fuck it. It's my water.
Yeah.
What's the water going to do to me?
Yeah, it only makes
it stronger.
And so now we get Hoff swimming montage. And Hoff walks back up to Angie.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because Hoff just sort of goes out and swims, and then next scene is him running back up to her in shadow.
He's walking back up to her.
It's sort of a jog-ish thing. But he goes back up to her, but he's in shadow while this is happening, and she's just sort of looking out into the ocean. So it kind of looks like some dude is just sneaking up on her.
Yeah.
In the darkness, and she doesn't realize it's happening at all. But he just comes out and.
Also, this is the most classic Baywatch Night style scene we've seen in a while. Of just Hoff just swimming in the ocean to saxophone music.
Yeah.
It's not as long as some of those season 1 ones.
Yeah.
But you get 30 seconds of smooth saxophone Hoff.
Yeah, it's true.
Angie's asking if there's anything she can do. And Hoff's like, no. Then next scene, Angie is just looking through records of lifeguard encounters with people, and Teague walks up. Fucking Teague. And
yeah, they're back at Nights, by the way.
Yeah, they're back. Yeah,
where Angie is.
Yeah, well, and Teague, because Teague is dead.
Angie and now Teague.
Yes. And Angie's like, well, most of the encounters are just, lifeguard saved somebody or a guy got mad for getting, kicked off of the beach as it's closing. She's like, except for this one time where some dude tried to save a family of 4 and everybody died but one dude. So his twin brother and his mom and dad all died in this crash. And
yeah, some car drove off the side of one of the various cliffs that are around the beach. And fell into the water and people drowned.
Yeah. And then, so Teague hears... this is bullshit. Teague hears that they're twins.
Yeah, Teague hears that there's twins.
And that Matt perks up his fucking bullshit meter. And as he pronounces it, it reminds him of Rom-less and Remus.
yeah, he does grossly mispronounce Rom-less.
And also, just grossly misremembers the legend.
Oh yeah, there's that too. I'll just talk about the pronunciation.
Yeah, because according to Teague, Rom-less was murdered, and then came back as a spirit for vengeance and to protect his brother Remus, his twin brother Remus. Yeah, which is
that doesn't sound right.
No, it's the complete opposite of Romulus getting pissed at Remus and murdering him.
Yeah.
He's like, how dare you make fun of my shitty wall? And he beat the shit out of him.
Well, Well, see, he's talking about Romulus, not Romulus. That's ridiculous.
Well, see, I would be okay.
They were actually triplets.
I would be on board with that if he didn't say that they were twins who founded Rome. I'd be like, okay, maybe he's talking
The
about...
other twins who founded Rome.
There's other Romes.
Yeah, you know.
Rome, Nebraska.
Rom-less and Remus Brown. I could totally see somebody in like 1700s Kentucky naming their kid Romulus.
No, I could definitely see somebody accidentally naming their kid Romulus and Remus.
That's a good Deadlands name, Romulus.
Yeah, though. Oh, damn it, that does sound like Deadlands character.
So anyway, with this pro Romulus propaganda, I'm suspecting Teague might be Romulan. He knows about aliens.
It would explain a lot.
Yeah. He's in some sort of fucking secret intelligence bullshit. That's straight up Romulan.
Yeah. Romulan travels back in time, teaches us everything we need to know
About a Jogan.
Teaches us everything we need to know about a Jogan and intelligence operations.
And so then Angie's like, "What? You think a ghost is doing this?" He's like, "No, not a ghost. Willpower." He's like, "I'm talking about like when a soldier gets shot a bunch of times and he keeps going until he saves his buddies." And then Angie's like, "Yeah, that's like a matter of seconds." And then Teague does the fucking classic slippery slope on this one. Mm-hmm. He goes, "Yeah, if seconds, why not minutes or hours or weeks
Or years.
decades?" 24th century.
Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century.
The willpower of a photon torpedoes.
He's just tipping his hand, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
He knows all about willpower.
Yeah.
He said, "Stay alive around these fucking monkeys."
Nerf pinches, all that shit. So, next scene, Hoff approaches a guy named Gus, who is staring at the cold, uncaring ocean. It's basically just the pondering the death of a lifeguard spot.
There's another lifeguard, by the way.
Yeah. So Gus, this Gus dude says he can't believe he's gone. And this Gus guy is the one who saved the one brother from the crash. So Hoff asked him about the crash. Like, car craned off cliff. He saw it. He dove in, got the driver out first because that was the first person he could reach. And then when he went back, everybody else fucking dead.
Yeah. He says he did everything by the book. He did everything he could.
So, a couple people came for backup, including Newman.
Yeah.
Newman was there.
Newman.
They were trying CPR, and Gus mentions, it was really weird because he's doing CPR on this one dude, and the same face is, staring on at him in horror as he's trying to rescue.
Because, twins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get the opening scream for the fucking credits. It gets me every time. I forget at a certain point that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
this one came at 9:55.
Yeah.
So we're a quarter into this episode.
It really does get you by surprise. Pretty much every time.
And every time I die laughing.
It's such a fucking mood breaker.
It is.
It does nothing but that. And it always is a surprise.
Well, I mean, everyone knows that the best horror is one that builds and then has something to deflate so that it can rebuild. I mean, I don't think that they were going for, the complete laughter, but...
Well, it doesn't deflate is the thing. That's not what's going on.
No.
Well, I mean, it's to deflate, like when you make the fart sounds from a balloon.
No, it somehow breaks the tension in a way that's funnier than that.
Yeah, it's not along the lines of the classic cat scare type thing. It's more along the lines of how to put it, like imagine if another like imagine if another horror movie like started up in the middle of a horror movie, but just like 10 seconds of it. It's a little bit like that. Where, but so it's completely out of context. So nothing makes sense. It just out of nowhere.
It'd be like those. Remember those? I don't remember where the commercials were from. There were those commercials that were just the jump scares that were on the internet.
Yeah, they were for that one like horror channel thing, right? I think.
I can't remember even what it was for.
I think that's what that was for.
It would just be like watching like something that builds tension, like one of those thriller horror type things, and then in the middle it just turns into one of those just guy in a green face goes, and then it starts playing weird fucking Casino Nights music.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like a commercial actually in the middle of a building tension type scene in a horror movie, you know. Buy toothpaste or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, like, oh my god.
Freddy Krueger stalks around and tries to murder your kids, or whatever the hell.
Not only is it like a long time, but some of the stuff that comes after this is less dense than what happens before the cold open, so literally a third of my notes are the cold open.
Yeah, it's true, yeah. That is part of it. I think that's part of it too, is that the openings are usually kind of dense.
Yeah, they're like, here's all the exposition.
And then follow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, shitty opening.
Yep. And so now we're on
And then
the
credits.
then we're on the beach again.
No. We're at the flobber part.
Yeah. We haven't. No, it's like episode 18 is gonna be like 37 minutes cold open.
I got it. What it is it's
The flat tire. So you're going straight, and then the cold open hits, and it's a flat tire, and it goes the rest of the way.
It's a flat tire on a unicycle.
Yeah, that's what the little witch scream at the thing is. That's just
Yeah.
the tire popping.
Yeah, but it's not popping. It just gets a little leak, so it goes.
Right. It's not a good pop. It's not a solid pop.
But you're still driving on that flat tire.
Somehow somebody popped it with one of those squeaky toys. Just a little squeaker.
Mm-hmm.
They replaced the Schrader valve with it. So now Donna is at the tower on the beach. Sees a kid drowning. 2 more lifeguards come over to provide backup as she just grabs this kid who's drowning in water that they all stand up in.
Yeah.
And so she just passes the kid off to one of the guys. And then she gets pulled down.
Pushes him under the water.
Yeah, no. She passes him off. She passes the dude off and then just yoink.
Yep.
She's also pulled under the water.
Yep. And now she's being dragged. And the can is just being dragged across the surface of the water like the Jaws fin.
Yeah, like the buoy thing from Jaws or whatever.
Yep. And then it goes down and then back up again. And next you see Baywatch trucks have pulled up, and Hoff is telling Angie that someone is after lifeguards. He's like, nope, someone's fucking.
Well, yeah, they it's around then that they realized that Donna disappeared.
Yeah.
They didn't see it the other lifeguards didn't exactly see it happen, but they turned around and then they turned.
She was
back
gone, and so then they had the trucks pull up.
And yeah, at this point Hoff is fucking pissed.
Yeah.
He's like, somebody's fucking assassinating lifeguards.
Yeah. And so then we immediately get this riddle solved in the very next scene with the living twin, has been capturing these lifeguards and throwing them in a cage. It's real unclear where this cage actually is. It's maybe some underwater cave or something.
That's my impression, because it's a dark area full of water, because it's a cage, and the cage is 95% full of water.
Yeah, there's 8 to 10 inches, just enough for somebody to have their head kind of.
Yeah, they can basically get their face up. They can't even have the face normally up.
Yeah,
they have to do this. Yes, fucking the crab from under from the Little Mermaid is doing it. No, as Cliff said, it's the twin brother.
Yeah.
Of the drowning victim from previously.
Yeah.
Twin brother with Sebastian all along.
Yeah, he unzipped his suit. We were both crabs, and we hid ourselves in the world.
grab people.
So
Our parents didn't know. I don't know how.
So Donna's freaking out, and this yet-to-be-named lifeguard is, like, trying to calm her down. And then he's like, in a weird way, I'm glad you're here. Because it's like, it's always a better situation to have backup. And Donna's like, yeah, no one wants to die alone. And Hoff grabs Griff to go for a dive to look at the car, just to check it out. Just to, see what's up.
Okay, it's the only thing they got.
Yeah. And Griff needs no reason because he's Griff.
Yeah.
So they dive and they're looking around. Griff gets eaten by the trunk of the car for a minute.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird scene where they're snooping around the thing and doing the scuba business, and Griff goes starts to go into the trunk, and then the trunk just closes on his back, and then he's in the trunk.
Yeah.
It's really unclear how he gets in the trunk from where he's in.
Yeah.
Without him being cut in half by that thing.
And so Hoff gets him out of there, and they decide the car is not a ghost, I guess.
This is also a weird scene because you don't see anything.
No, there's no.
You don't see anything about the dude coming up and pushing him in the trunk and closing it on him. It just he sort of gets pulled into the trunk.
Yeah.
And it closes on him, and they're like that, and then they just come out and say that was not a ghost.
Yeah, and you're like,
that's it.
You're like, yeah, it was a car. A car is not a ghost. A lion is not an antelope.
Mm-hmm.
So Hoff calls Angie and to get the address for where this twin is supposed to be, and he's like, tells Angie and Teague to meet him there. And then Hoff just casually trespasses into this house. Like the garage door is like propped open, but like an eighth of the way, so it's down a bit. He has to crawl under there. Mm-hmm. And he sees that it's like there's two of everything. There's like 2 kayaks, 2 bikes, 2 wetsuits, right? And he's like, I'm just gonna keep creeping through this fucking house, even though he is yelling out like, "Hey, hello," and then he's still just fucking letting himself in like an asshole. Mm-hmm. And then this twin, like basically attacks Home Invader Hoff with a knife, and we get like another case of the blurry slow motion cam fight where it's just
he just sort of wrestles. They sort of wrestle on the ground a bit, and then Hoff kicks him off basically.
Yeah, like Hoff gets wrestles the knife away, and then the guy just runs off.
Yeah, and the guy cheeses it.
And then and we get a little while later a detective, the detective friend who has been there a few times. I can't even remember if they ever name him. They might have in one of the episodes.
I feel like they named him, but I don't remember
his
name anymore.
He's just the guy who's still...
If they said his name, it's been like 2 times.
Yeah. But he's a friend of Hoff and Ellerby when Ellerby existed. And he shows up, and he basically has to explain to Hoff how, this makes a lot of sense. You broke into this house and the guy who lives there attacked you. It's not really illegal, Hoff.
It's like, I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, you're kind of trespassing and dude against the dude in this house.
Yeah.
So,
the detective, they try to figure out some way to, maybe, talk to him or something about this shit. The detectives leave, and then Hoff and Teague and Angie just stay at his house and dig through his shit.
Yeah, it's funny that the police don't have anything to say about it.
No, they don't make them leave or anything.
Well, or even supervise or something,
No, they don't do anything. They just leave. You guys figure it out from here. And so they kind of dig through his belongings, and they talk about how he probably got all super depressed because his whole family died.
Yeah, because by the way, the house is pretty shitty looking.
Yeah,
it's a mess.
Yeah, he's let it go to hell. And, so they're like, oh, yeah, he's just, yeah.
Yeah, once again, Teague goes in and jumps in and fills in all the logical leaps that he needs to make to get to where he wants to go.
I realized though, that Angie didn't make the leaps that she usually does because this isn't a monster,
Yeah.
so she can't consult the monster
it's
manual.
Not, it's not her specialty.
Yeah.
This is where the Teague comes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, he goes in and makes a bunch of leaps. Basically, that he's obviously not taking care of himself, so he's in some sort of depressive spiral. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, is a fair assumption.
Yeah.
His whole family died, basically.
Yeah, his whole family died right in front of him. So we cut back to the torture cave, and this is when we finally get the other lifeguard's name is Clancy. And he tries talking to the twin, and
Twin's not having it.
no, he just keeps telling him, shut up, shut up, shut up, and then he just starts hitting the cage with an oar. And then, like, Donna yells that he heard him, which I don't even know how.
I mean, he was the way I figure is he had his fingers like going off to the top
Maybe.
of it, and he got fingers crushed.
And then the twin tells Donna that like whatever he's got planned isn't ready yet. And then we see another shot at the beach.
I should say with that scene, the actor they have for the twin brother dude really sells crazy. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
He looks a little bit like Armie Hammer.
Yeah,
So it makes the Winklevoss connection from
I didn't think about
even
that, but
stronger.
Yeah.
Like it was a while later. I just started thinking of him as, you know, a dark Winklevoss.
Dark Winklevoss. That's just a funny sentence. Anyway.
Yeah. So another scene at the beach, and this time Gus is on lifeguard duty, and he sees something. So he kind of like does a little motion to Numi, like, you know what, over there, and and then when Gus goes out there, this time we see how the dark Winklevoss is snagging these guys. He like loops a rope around their ankle and hooks them, and then has one of those little like scuba tow boards.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And drags them down, and then they also said earlier that they get drugged, like at a certain point
Oh.
too. I don't know exactly when it is.
Yeah, it's not clear at what point he puts a dart in him or whatever.
Yeah.
But so Numi definitely like basically sees this happen. He doesn't see the guy, but he sees him get pulled up.
Yeah. And so Donna, we're back into the cave. Donna tells Clancy that this guy's planning something crazy, and they have to figure something out. And then he comes in, dumps Gus in there. Gus is like, "Oh, you got me now. You know, I was the one who was there for this. You can let them go. You have me now." And this fucking Winkle shit basically just laughs at him.
Because that is not his plan.
No, it is not at all.
Well, I mean, they've seen his face. Blah, 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 blah.
It's not even a plan of.
No.
It's not even a plan of revenge.
No.
Turns out.
So Hoff and Teague and Angie are just digging through more of his shit, and Hoff gets the call that Gus got. So they're like, "Ah, fuck, this guy's fucking." Again, another leap of logic where he's like, "Oh fuck, they got two guys and a lady. He's recreating the crash. He's gonna take them and crash the car with them so they can all die because he has survivor's guilt." Exactly. And then Teague's like, thus fulfilling the mythology of twins, which I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I don't even know what he was getting. That was a real thing. I understood the leap in logic even.
You don't remember when Remus just got a bunch of dudes together and threw them in a chariot and launched them off the cliff?
He's so broken up over Rom-less.
Well, and Rom-less's ghost was just on his shoulder, so he easily overpowered the three of them.
Rom-less is goneless, but not forgottenless.
But I even understood the leap in logic where the dude's crazy and he's like basically just filling in the people in the crash with these people. I even understood that, but then the mythology of twins. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, at least Teague is helping in this scenario, but he's still doing it in the shittiest way. He's doing it in the shittiest way he could.
He's right for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's true.
So, the lifeguards in the cave tried the shittiest escape technique of all time. They're like, one of them just pretends to be like drowning, and the other one's call for help. And then he opens up the cage, and then like they start to make a move, and then he just like wraps a chain around one of their necks and just basically hangs them until.
Yeah, they're in it should be. I should say also they're like in a really bad situation in terms of just simply getting out of the cage because the cage opens from the top.
Yeah.
And they're in like deeper, and they're in deeper water. As mentioned before, they're like 95% up in the water.
So you put them in a giant crab pot.
Yeah, basically. And meanwhile, the twin is standing only like thigh high, maybe waist high in the water. So he has a giant leverage advantage and height advantage on them. So yeah, the dude comes up and tries to grab him and do stuff, and so he just wrestles him for a little bit, and then wraps the chain that was both holding the lock in place and also presumably holding the cage in place a little bit. So yeah, he just wraps it around his neck and chokes him for a bit.
Yeah,
and then throws him back in the cage and
then
locks it again.
Yeah, then he just goes and grabs his trank gun and just tranks them all.
Yeah, he's had a gun that he's been threatening them with, and it's here that you realize that it's a trank gun, and then he just pop pop pop.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
because they'll be perfectly fine, unconscious in water.
Yeah.
And so
what could go wrong?
Yeah.
Hoff is heading to the scene of the original crash because he's figuring.
This is the one in Kentucky, right?
No. You're talking about the ancient story of Rom-less and Remus.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's how you put the ghost to rest. So.
No. Different ghosts.
Yeah, you're all de-ghosted here.
You got your ghosts all mixed up.
So Hoff does something we haven't seen. I don't know if we at least once he's done this before, but not on screen. He calls the police for backup.
Yeah.
They don't actually show up in time to do anything, but he calls them this time.
He's definitely done it at least once.
Well, the other time he had his police backup was when they did the fake grave.
Yeah. They've definitely done this.
And they didn't show him call the police for backup. They just had them set it up off camera.
Did they... Was that the fake grave too? The one where they had the one where they went to the one that went to the pier and where they had the doppelganger lady. The lady, one lady had to pretend to be another lady who was shot.
No, they didn't do anything with the police that time.
They didn't do anything.
No, they just showed up.
They should have.
Yes,
they
really
absolutely
should have.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
They just didn't.
Yeah, no, yeah. They don't think they ever really did.
No. So this is an anomaly here. He actually calls for backup. And then they show the Dark Winklevoss. Like, he's flashing back to the original crash as he's prepping his new victims to recreate the crash.
And they've sort of already showed flashbacks at this point, but this is a bit more in depth, and it's also weirder because he's doing it in between while he's prepping, and it sort of overlays.
Yeah. So as he's like buckling him in and stuff, he's buckling the people in the back. Doesn't buckle in Gus in the front seat.
He just says, "Fuck it, we don't need seatbelts where we're going."
Yeah,
that is basically what he said.
Their hands are already like bound behind their back in the scenario.
And I think Gus, I think, is unconscious. One of them is.
They're all unconscious at the for
beginning.
most of it. Yeah,
I don't
they start to come to.
Yeah, Donna comes to first, I think.
Yeah,
because he starts arguing with Mom.
Yeah, and and this Dark Winklevoss also handcuffs himself to the steering wheel. But in the flashbacks that are intercut here, we find out that the crash happened because the living twin was like angry because they were his parents and his twin brother and him were all going in on some joint business venture. Mm-hmm. Because fucking, if it's not some supernatural element, it comes back to some business venture in Baywatch Nights.
That is true.
And The parents were putting in a bunch of money into it, and they suggested that his twin brother be the accountant. Like, he'd be in charge of the books.
Because he's better with money for whatever reason.
Yeah. And then this fucking Dark Winklevoss assholes got angry at them and started, like, arguing with them and stuff and veered off the road.
Yeah, he has some sort of inferiority complex, just from the looks of it, immediately. Because he just immediately, like this, he's immediately like, this is a thing that has been a theme, I guess, for him.
Yeah. And so that's what caused the crash that kills his entire family.
Yeah.
And so then we see the car drive off the same cliff into the water. Hoff's car is driving towards him as he sees the car start to roll. Like, ah, shit, we're too late. So Hoff dives in. They, like, show the car go over, and then Hoff's truck, like, drives around to the beach. Hoff goes in. He comes in from the passenger side this time. Gets Donna out first. He just kind of shoves her up to the surface without actually coming up for air at all.
Yeah, he doesn't appear to, anyway.
And this part kind of makes me feel like he was almost, like, stunting on Gus a little bit. Because he didn't come up for air at all.
Yeah, if he's supposed to, he doesn't look like it.
No. He's fucking in his helmet. It's his water, damn it.
True. Yeah, because he gets all of them out.
Yeah.
Without coming up for air.
He gets all three of them out, and when he goes to get the Dark Winklevoss, it's actually pretty funny because he swims up to him to grab him, and like when they show the car underwater, this twin dude has just got the weirdest fucking grin on his face.
He looks super stoked about the whole situation.
He's just grinning, just completely submerged in water, and then
again selling the crazy.
Yeah, and then when Hoff swims up to him, he scream laughs at Hoff and points to the handcuffs. He's like, ah! and then
just sort of slumps.
And then just goes unconscious because he scream laughed all his oxygen out.
Yeah.
And Hoff just like pulls the steering wheel off and pulls his asshole ashore, and tries CPR on him. And Clancy is like yelling at them like, "No, you don't get out this easy. You don't get to die like this. No,
I'm done with you."
Yeah, this ain't over. And then it's like hard cut to the meat wagon taking away his corpse, and they're like, "Well, he didn't make it." Womp womp.
I guess he did get to go out that way.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Hoff's like, "Yeah, Teague, it wasn't a spirit." And Teague's like, "Wasn't it though?" And
no, it wasn't.
In true asshole fashion, he's like, "Well." It's the annoying thing is that Teague never like said it was. He never said it was explicitly a ghost doing it. He said it was will, and it was the dude's will to do all this shit.
Well, I mean, you can make anything.
No.
I know.
I'm aware that it's shitty, but this is exactly the Teague thing to do.
I know.
He's like, oh yeah, it's like it wasn't spirit, it was his spirit, his willpower.
Well, he's like, it wasn't it though a lost spirit who was blah 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 blah. And you're like, shut up, Teague. No one likes you.
He was right, and then he said he got what he wanted because that's what happened. Dude wins.
Yeah, and so then Hoff comments on how Angie got all wet because like Angie evidently doesn't like the ocean. This is
the first time I've heard of that.
Yeah, no, I know
because she and Teague,
right? They both went in.
They both like waded into the water to help drag the people.
Yeah, because Hoff was just like shoving them up to the surface and going back down.
Yeah.
And so, he's like, "Oh, you got all wet. You don't like the ocean." And she's like, "It's not safe in the ocean." And then Hoff's like,
"Aren't they all underwater in the Jogan thing?"
No, she was on the surface. She was
She was on the boat telling them things.
Yeah, it was Griffin.
Right.
It was Griffin Hoff down there.
All right.
She's the dude in the chair.
She is the dude in the chair.
So,
especially in season 2.
Yeah. I was trying to think, has she ever been shown in the... Didn't they go like...
The closest I can think of is she was just on the beach, really.
No, didn't they do something together? Go like jet skiing or some bullshit?
There was a thing where where he was trying to convince her to do stuff on the water, and I think it was one of those end of the episode things. He's like, "Will you like do jet skiing with me because you don't want to?" And he's like, and she's like, "Okay, fine, I'll go jet skiing with you." And then that was the end of the episode. There was something like that, I think. But I'm only vaguely remembering this.
Anyway, she says not safe in the ocean, and Hoff's like, if it was safe, I'd be out of a job. And then you get the Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much that episode. Yeah. Again, Teague being a douche.
Yeah.
Again, I'll give him credits for at least being helpful in this episode as opposed to other episodes where he's not an illusion.
Well, it's like instead of being like an asshole and wrong, this time he's helpful or asshole but right. This time he's helpful but wrong about like everything.
Yeah. It's exactly it. Like other times he's like, oh, I have the information, I could be helpful, but I'm just not gonna be.
Yeah.
This time he's like, oh, I don't really have any information on this, but I'll try and help.
We did give you a history lesson in the starting of Rome, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh, Rom-less Brown built the first general store here. This felt more like a season 1 episode, but without the fun of having Ellerby there.
Yeah. This would definitely be improved with Ellerby.
So, what, like a 4.5?
I think in that range.
Because I
think what is it? The rig is around there, right?
let me find where I put my season 2 rig.
Because that was the first thing I thought of in terms of comparison to it.
And I know there was a lot that wasn't great, but the guy was a good crazy.
The guy sold the crazy. As I said, let's see. It was mostly just the fact that they were working off of such flimsy evidence.
Yeah.
If they had done a bit more with them sleuthing it out, it would be a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah. It was weird that this was evidently the only encounter that wasn't just a normal rescue.
Apparently,
despite the entire history of Baywatch being about other encounters that lifeguards have with people.
Yeah, it does seem really odd that this is the only one that stands out.
Yeah,
it's an unusual case. I believe I'll give it that for the people going off the cliff and drowning and everything. I can see that being unusual.
Yeah,
but it doesn't seem like It doesn't seem like this is the only unusual thing.
Yeah, it's the only time a car is driven into the ocean ever. This is the only time that Baywatch has been involved in anything other than a surfer getting kicked off the beach or somebody drowning at the beach.
Yeah, see...
Never mind all of the diamond smuggling plots of Baywatch episodes.
Yeah. I could agree. Like I said, I could believe that this one case is unusual in and of itself, but not in the general sense of Baywatch happenings.
Yeah. And the leaps are just constant. There's no logic to this episode.
Yeah, it is. That's the big problem. Really, is that there's no sleuthing in it. It's just he's fucking crazy. This is what's gonna happen.
It's just that they're playing a game of Deadlands, and instead of figuring anything out, they just threw chips at every scene.
Yeah. That is sort of.
So. The rig is right at 5. The strike is at 4.
Is it worse than the strike? I didn't hate the strike.
The strike flowed better in this episode.
Yeah, it was just silliness because of alien stuff.
And I feel like the silliness in both were equal.
They're both very. They're both both of these both this and the strike were silly, just for different reasons.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Circle of Fear is 3.33.
Yeah.
It's better than Circle of Fear. We know that.
Yeah. I feel it's definitely better than Circle of Fear. If only because of the dude being good at being crazy.
Yeah.
Because Circle of Fear betrays its own premise as part of this.
Yeah, it just doesn't work on so many levels. I feel like it's close to the strike, and I'm not sure on which side it lies.
Yeah.
Like it's either like a 3.9 or like a 4.1.
Yeah, that is what it feels like. The strike. Let me think about that. Let me think about that one again. Because that had all the... I'm gonna give this a little bit. I'm gonna give this a little bit. I think this goes a little bit higher than the strike. Is what I'm feeling. Because what is it? The strike has almost similar leaps of logic.
Yeah.
Not as many as this one did, and not quite as large as this one did. But it had, less interesting characters and acting and stuff.
Yeah. We didn't get the history of Rom-less Brown.
I
might have laughed more about Rom-less than anything.
There's that. And there are clearly opposites in terms of Teague helpfulness.
Yeah, they are.
Too.
They're the two sides of that coin.
Yeah.
But Teague knows everything about aliens and nothing about twins.
Yeah. I'll give. I like Teague more if he's helpful than just not. Even if he's knows nothing about the subject involved.
The mythology of twins.
Yeah, I'd rather Teague be helpful and be a helpful idiot than a unhelpful asshole smart guy.
So
I think that's superior.
So we're looking at what, like a 4.1.
Maybe a 4.2. I'm not sure.
I don't think it quite earns 4.20. It's not quite.
No, I'll give it. Yeah, sure. 4.1. That seems fine.
We could do we could further decimalize
No.
after that.
No.
4.1738.
4.242.
No. It can't get up to 4.2 at that point. It have to be 4.1 something.
4.199, just under the 4.2.
No, I don't think it's that high in that case.
Well, right. wait. But if we made it 4.4, then it would be a set of twins.
Damn it, you're right. 4.44 it is.
Which one's Rom-less?
The worst. The first one. The worst naming convention we've never had.
All right.
Not naming convention. Scoring system.
It's the worst something.
The scoring system's so bad it makes you think of a different thing entirely.
All right. So, next up is episode 9, Night Whispers.
I mean, joke answer is, of course, vampires. Genuine answer.
I'm going to go with Vampire Amway Salesman.
Vampire what salesman?
Amway.
Oh, Amway.
Have you heard the good news about Amway?
It's just a creepy Bob Seger. Night Whispers.
That's good. I was just gonna say vampires. Fuck it. Okay.
All right. Angie suspects that a woman she and Hoff saw commit a murder is a vampire.
Yes. It would come eventually.
Still could be an Amway salesman. I did say vampire salesman.
So now you're going to have to think about the rest of the season because you know they're not going to do 2 vampire.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change my joke answer now.
Yeah, we finally got to the vampire one, Andre.
I knew it was coming. I get it one of these days. I was guaranteed the one.
Yep.
So how many are left?
Well, that's episode 9, and there's 22 in the season.
Oh, God. I thought we were at closer to 17.
No, I told you it feels like it's forever. You don't want to believe me. We still have such great sounding ones as Space Spore and the Mobius and Zargtha. Okay, those all sound like Roger Corman movies.
Yes, they do.
Symbol of death.
And when I got David Hasselhoff for the Mobius.
And this one sounds like it. Oh, here's one that sounds like a shitty Outer Limits episode, Frozen Out of Time.
No, that does sound like a shitty album. Not wrong.
Hot Winds. There's no way. We're not going to make a lot of jokes about Hot Winds.
Hot winds?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's what he had after he had that.
We're not going to get the Hot Winds for a while.
That's what he had after he had that hamburger when he was drunk.
What is it?
Oh, God. This stretch that's real close to the end of the season tells a funny story in and of itself.
Okay.
You have the 8th seal, then Hot Winds, then the Vortex.
The 8th seal goes directly on the butthole. Alright.
And then it finishes off the season on 1,000 words, which are mostly on any part of it.
Alright.